Hey, what's happening, gang? Welcome back. It's Aaron. I'm working on fencing. Today's Sunday. Yesterday, I got some stuff done. I I had my little camera. It was super windy, so I recorded some clips, and I didn't. There's no audio because it sounds like a hurricane. But I got the auger here, and I actually put it to work. It takes a little bit of practice to dig a vertical hole. But what I did was I got some telephone poles or electric poles when the company replaced them recently. I got about 4.5 of them. I dragged them into the gate here and cut one of them up with a chainsaw yesterday to replace a few posts that were rotten or broken or whatever, so I can put some fence on it. I'm basically replacing all the existing barbed wire with field fence, and then I'm gonna build a couple of new fences. But I cut the electric poles up, and I had to pull out some staples because they had some kind of metal wire running up it, and it was stapled to it. So I just cut those with a chainsaw, and I tried to use the existing hole for one of the posts I took out. I made a joke about just jumping on it and putting it in the ground, but what I actually did after the fact was I just dug a bigger hole and then put a little thicker pole in there. I got the 12-inch auger bit because I knew I had telephone poles before I bought it, and they come 6 inches, 9 inches, and 12 inches are the diameters of these auger bits, and I didn't want to have to dig a hole and then make it bigger. And since I'm tamping everything, I'm not using concrete for this. The thing goes down 3 feet, so I've been cutting all the lengths of pole about 7.5. Which leaves me 4.5, 5 feet above ground. But the ones I put in yesterday are pretty sturdy. Like, they're as sturdy as the poles that are here. I'm trying to use as much of the existing infrastructure as possible, if infrastructure is a good word for it. So out front along the road, I pulled down the barbed wire. I made a mistake there. I only bought 42-inch instead of 47-inch field fence. So what I did was I left one strand of barbed wire above it. I'm going to put another one. But I got that stretched a couple weeks ago. And then there's a part that's, it's a pretty steep angle. That was a pain. And since I've never done fencing before, it took me a little while to get that right. But the rest of that front, along the road should be pretty straightforward. I don't want to say easy because it's a long run, but it should be pretty straightforward. So I've got our front gate shut right now. The llamas are just kind of roaming the driveway, which isn't bad because they probably need hoof trims, and how do you trim the hoof of a llama that doesn't want to be trimmed? I guess we'll talk about where I'm going to build the new fence when I get to it. Right now I'm just replacing a couple of posts and stretching where the barbed wire is. There are a couple of poles, it's like he zigzagged the barbed wire, and since he didn't stretch it that tight, I think I can, the poles are pretty thick. I think I can probably get away with not using H's because they're pretty short runs. I might be able to just stretch it and then just kind of stretch it and not worry about the H's, but I'm going to kind of play that by ear because I don't want to have to redo this if it fails in 6 months or something like that. So I'm doing this myself. Last year we hired a guy, and it was about $1,500 labor plus all the materials. So this year, I decided, well, I might as well just buy a post hole digger and do my own labor. We hired him last year because we were supposed to pick up the sheep on a certain date, and we needed it done by that date, and that didn't happen. If I had known that, I would have done all this last year and just done it myself, but, you know, what's done is done. I'm not dwelling on that. But the job the guy did, I feel like I can do as good of a job. It might take me a little longer, you know, to figure out the nuances, but, you know, I've got a little bit of time, not much time, a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. And if I get all this field fence stretched today, I'll check back in at the end of the day, and we'll take a look at it. All right, so it is the next Sunday. So much rain this week. It was 32 degrees one night. Right after we shear the sheep, 2 nights later, bam, 32 degrees. So I've just about gotten this whole side done. There's one little area from that post over that I've got to finish. It's certainly not perfect, but it's a pretty good job. It'll definitely work. It's worth it to A, save the money, B, I need to know how to do this anyway, and C, I like being outside and working with my hands. And it has turned into a beautiful day today. It was probably about 45 degrees when I came out this morning, and about an hour and a half ago the sun came out. It's like 60. It's beautiful. So I want to, at some point, I want to make a diagram. Maybe I'll do a PowerPoint because I'm a professional. Anyway, I want to do a diagram of what space we've got and how it's laid out, and how we're going to break it up further and what our plans are. After this little section, I've got one section on the road that I need to switch from barbed wire to field fence, and then I start building new fence. There's more barbed wire that needs to be replaced, but it can wait. So I guess I'm gonna call this a video. I was trying to do it all last weekend. I didn't get done with the fencing, and then we had shearing day, and it's just one of those things. If I had a good couple of days in a row that I could get out and work all day, I would have had this done. But Monday I was ready to go at like noon. I teleworked 4 a.m. to noon, ready to go. Rained all day. So it's just, I mean, it's spring. What are you gonna do? Well, it's spring/winter, whatever it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this here. I'm gonna end this one, and I'll try to get to the whole layout, the whole property layout soon. I'm pretty impressed with that auger so far. It beats the hell out of digging a post hole by hand. It is hard to get your hole perfectly vertical, but hopefully I can work on that as time goes on. So I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.